A big hello and a very warm welcome to Brand Equity with me, Sonali Krishna. Well, today I come to you straight from the Spotify office in Mumbai, and I'm here with Lee Brown, who is the Vice President of the Global Advertising Business and Platform of Spotify. Well, lovely to have you on the show, Lee.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Spotify is a pretty popular brand in India and is only gaining popularity. So looking forward to some interesting insights from you, not just globally, but also about the India market.
Great. Can't wait to share.
Great. So let's start with the good news. I believe India was the single market that contributed the most to your global growth last year.
We had an incredible year last year in terms of adding over 100 million monthly active users to our platform, and India was a big part of that success. And if you think about that in the terms of context of the business, we've been in business for over 15 years, and adding that kind of volume to our platform really speaks to the investment we've made in improving the product and bringing more value to the listeners on the platform.
And today, if I ask you, the global subscriber base of Spotify would stand at?
We have over 626, as reported last quarter, over 626 million monthly active users on Spotify, with nearly 225 to 230 million subscribers.
And if I had to ask you, if you look at, let's say, your free model or your freemium model versus your premium subscribers, how many premium subscribers do you have globally?
So globally, like I said, it's about 230 or so, and about 300.
You're using that
as a premium subscriber.
Okay.
So
okay.
we separate our business into the listeners on our platform that listen for free, and that's nearly 400 and nearly 250 for subscribers. So it's about 250 and 400, so about 650 million for global usage. And that puts us in the top 3 globally for subscribers. So if you think about Netflix is nearly 270, Prime is nearly 260, and we're nearly 250, that sort of puts us in the top of subscription services globally.
Sure. And how is India doing in terms of, actual paying subscribers? Because we don't like to pay.
Well, we're making strong headway there, and we've seen tremendous improvement. We've really started to focus in on bringing the value to the India audience and making sure that we have the right plans, the right price points, and the right opportunities for content that they want to consume in the right environment that they want.
I'm only asking you that because your team is doing a fantastic job. If I'm a free subscriber, because the irritation of the ads is so high that I definitely want to pay for it.
It's just a reminder.
No, it is a reminder that is done almost every 3 minutes. A good job, because it made me switch from being a free subscriber to a premium subscriber. And I think I just want to know how, because India is so used to having content for free or cheap, very cheap, and it is a new phenomenon for us to keep paying for content, whether it be Netflix or Spotify or whatever else that we're adding in the mix. It's a slow and gradual change. So I just want to understand how many paying subscribers do you have in India?
That's something we don't share and break down, but I will say that the trends that we see here in India, there are 2 big trends. One is that I think premium is driven by consumption. And so we find that the more listeners consume on Spotify, the power users, the music junkies, the ones that spend all day on our platform, they're the ones who are driving or leading our subscription growth. And also access to exclusive content. So any kind of content that they can't find anywhere else, that usually leads to a transaction and them wanting to step across and become a subscriber.
Absolutely. Now, I think a few years ago, maybe in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, your founder, Daniel Ek, actually stated publicly that he is looking for the advertising business, of course, which is your baby, to be about 20% of the total business.
Yes.
Are you there yet?
We're not there yet, but we're on our way. I started about 5 years ago, and I think we're in the mid-single digits in terms of percentage of revenue. Currently, over the last 24 months, we've bounced between 11% and 15%. So depending on the quarter and depending on the growth of subscription as well as growth of advertising, it's in that range. But we're making really great progress, and we're excited about the value that advertising can bring to Spotify overall. It enables us to have a free global music tier. It supports our podcast ambitions, and it also gives us a dual revenue stream. So it's a really strategic piece of our overall company's vision and priorities.
Just before I come down to the advertising business for audio specifically, just want to look at what Spotify is looking at. So you started as a music platform. You've pivoted very well strategically now into podcasts, which is a pretty significant part of your strategy. And now you've got into audiobooks, not in India, but globally, your audiobooks has been launched. Are you slowly moving out of just an audio platform and becoming a content platform, because you're also understanding the importance of visual and kind of merging that with your podcasts and stuff like, and also your content deals?
Sure, it's a great question. I would say 5+ years ago, we were known as being a music company. Yeah. And at the time, we had a choice to make in terms of our ambitions to bring podcasts. And at the time, Daniel and the executive team had a really important decision to make. Do we have a separate app for Spotify podcasts and Spotify music, which is what everybody else in the business has done, is they've had separate apps. And at the time, we made a really strategic decision to include it in our music app. So we shifted from being a pure music app to being an audio app. And as we've gone through that journey, we've actually continued to add more and more content types to our platform. So you mentioned audiobooks. We added podcasts nearly 3.5 years ago. We added audiobooks in the last year. We're continuing to add new content types to attract listeners and to give them what they want to listen to on our platform. And as we've done that, it's really increased not only 100 million plus last year joining, but the time spent. So they're now spending over 2 hours a day with us. We're basically their daily companion to their lives. They use this when they get up in the morning. They use this when they commute to work. They use this sometime at work. They use this at night before they go to bed. They even fall asleep to us. And so as we've done that, it also has changed the consumer behavior on our app. So they used to just come here to listen. Now, as we add podcasts or if we add audiobooks, we added lyrics, that gives them the ability to turn the app from their back pocket into the foreground and gives them more visual opportunities. So that gives us more opportunity to serve video content, video advertising, display, all those other kinds of things that I think you were leading to in terms of sort of more video.
A few years from now, you may no longer just be an audio platform, you may become an audio-visual platform.
I think we will always be audio first and have we're doubling down on audio. All the content types are primarily audio with a video component.
Lee, some of your peers, right, either take the advertising route or the subscription route. You've done a mix of both. Does that kind of ease the pressure off you, because the advertising business is it's not totally dependent on the revenue, because you have your premium members who it's a subscription-based model. So is there pressure to kind of up your advertising targets, or not so much?
I wish there was no pressure. No, we've been, Daniel has been pioneering sort of the dual revenue stream for now 15+ years. The original business model for Spotify was all free. And it wasn't until mobile came along where we started really introducing premium. And so I think we've had a dual revenue stream and a dual look at the marketplace for well over 15 years. And that has provided us a lot of optionality and provided us a lot of flexibility. And I think what you're starting to see in the streaming space, as well as in the other platforms, is their move into creating more alternative revenue streams as well. So whether it's Netflix or whether it's Prime, you're starting to see, or NBC Peacock, at least in the US, you're starting to see some of these pure traditional, subscription businesses add advertising, and vice versa. The pure ad plays starting to add subscriptions. Luckily for us, we've been doing it for over 15 years.
So if you're starting at about 11 to 13% through advertising revenue, the rest of the money is coming to pure subscription?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
that's a good place to be. That's a good place. Yeah.
The basic, the largest revenue streams that we have.
And if I look at pure play advertising, and if you want to kind of divide that between, let's say, music versus your podcast and now audiobooks, how would that split look?
Well, we don't do any advertising in audiobooks. It's still in its really early stages. We're still rolling it out globally. And our podcast business and our music businesses are in such different stages. I mean, we've been doing music advertising for well over a decade, and we just started podcasts in the last 2 or 3 years. So the majority of our revenue certainly comes from the music side of our business, for sure.
Since you handle the advertising business globally, what's been the kind of interest, curiosity for advertisers to come onto the platform? Because audio advertising, yes, we've all been familiar with radio, but it's a different ball game. How open-minded have they been? What segment of advertisers have actually taken to it?
Sure.
And what are your challenges in actually convincing people who are not used to it to take a plunge and check it out?
Wow, there's a lot in there. Let me
Yeah.
take the first part
Okay.
first, sir. So what advertisers love most about us is the premium environment in which they get to tell their story. It is, surrounded by the world's largest and best artists in the world. It's surrounded by, the most professional podcasters that we have out there. That kind of environment for them to tell their stories is something that they really value and greatly want
I
to be a part of.
have to stop you there without. I'm assuming if I'm a premium member, I will not receive any advertising. So when you
Not in
say
music, in podcasts you do.
in podcasts,
The way the business model was built in podcasts long before Spotify was an RSS feed-based model where ads come with the content. So that's
so even if I'm a premium member, I'll be served ads.
Yes.
Okay.
within podcasts.
Okay.
So the premium proposition is ad-free music listening. But within our premium environment, it's also a place which it's known to be super positive. The mental health, the mental wellness of the listeners on our platform, they're coming here to find their favorite artists, to discover their next favorite song, to listen and learn from their next, their podcaster. It's a really positive environment and one where advertisers want to be associated with it, not only for the premium nature of the content, but also for the sort of positive environment in which the listeners are here. The second and the third one is the depth of engagement. When you're on Spotify as a listener, it is truly your Spotify. It is what you want. It's it's personalized to you. You're very much engaged. It is your favorite artist. It's your favorite podcast, and that daily habit, that spending 2+ hours a day with us, leads to a lot of opportunity for marketers to tell their story in a very engaging and very compelling way. It has led us to be the world's #1 home screened app. So users have told us, 92% surveyed said that we are their daily essential companion for their day.
How have agencies, which are very important, it's a very important ecosystem for you to kind of get clients on board, especially because this is something you're still dabbling with, especially in markets like India. How have they come on board in terms of understanding what you offer, present your plans to key advertisers?
Yes, we are well underway of that plan. We've just, in the last 2 years, made a significant investment in our presence here on the sales side. So we've increased our sales team extensively. And so now we are starting to build those relationships, making sure that we are in contact and in their offices daily, weekly, making sure they understand our value proposition, making sure if they have any questions. And it's also helped that over the last 4 years, most of the people in those agencies are now starting to use our app and are now, not only like loyal members, but also understand the value proposition as consumers.
So since you have a 360-degree view of how the world is behaving in different pockets and their, idiosyncrasies, what would you say would be the biggest challenge in India?
The biggest
I'm sure there are many.
Yeah, well, the biggest opportunity is scale.
Opportunity you've changed it.
Well, there's biggest opportunity, I was going to say, the biggest opportunity and the biggest challenge is the scale of the opportunity here in India. It comes with 24 different languages. It comes with very segmented types of population in terms of the reach and in terms of the engagement. So not only in most other markets, you're able to do genre-based, for example, listening, hip hop, rap, country, but here it's indie hip hop, or is it what language is it in? So you have that you have to really be, when you think about personalization and discovery, and a lot listen to 3 or 4 different languages. And so how you think about personalization, and then how do you think about the ad creative and the language in which that ad is served is also presents a unique challenge for this market.
Now, for creativity on Spotify, you have created something in-house, right? It's called Creative Labs.
Yes.
When was this launched? Last year?
It was launched last year before Cannes.
Before Cannes.
Yes.
So that was specifically done so that you can work with the agency folk to create customized ads for clients.
Exactly. One of the biggest barriers that we heard, one of the biggest challenges that we've heard is that
how do I create for Spotify?
Well, yeah, audio is not top of mind for them. They don't have audio assets readily available. And so we wanted to make sure that we come with over 15 years of knowing audio, with best practices, with creative strategies, working hand in hand with their agencies and with the brands to bring the best opportunities for audio creative to them. And that's something that's been very well received and something that's been we've seen tremendous growth in over the first 8 months of its inception.
let me get to a more complex question. I mean,
Thank you.
as an advertiser, if I'm advertising with you, right, I'm assuming just like you have the platform open for artists to kind of track, which of their songs are doing well, which albums doing well,
Yes.
all of that, right? You're giving the same kind of insight to the advertiser.
We're working on providing more streaming intelligence to our branded partners so that they can check it on a more frequent basis. And that is part of sort of our innovation and our ad technology that we're bringing into market. So we're on that journey of providing the most robust insights for audio streaming intelligence in the marketplace.
Right. I'm really referring to measurement here, right? And so you would probably give me statistics to look at how my particular ad has performed on your platform.
Yes.
Right. But this is your data and it's first party data.
We have both first party and third party options. So we want to provide for the advertisers the measurement that works for them. So we want to make sure if they want to lean on our first party data and lean into learning about what we know about our users and how they're interacting with their brand, we'll provide them as comprehensive of a first party data report as they want and as we can provide. We also integrate with all the third party measurement firms to validate and verify, because a lot of brands want to not just have first party but have first party and third party verification.
Okay, so then Lee, are you open to a more common industry metric? Is that something Spotify is open? I'm asking you this question because I know players like Facebook and Google are not open. And while they might say whatever they say, they're pretty close to about not going out of their walled garden. So I'm interested in knowing, is Spotify open?
Oh yes, we are open. We are opening our platform for programmatic buying, for direct buying, for buying through APIs. We want to make it as easy as we want to make sure that we have the right channels open for how agencies want to buy.
Then for a minute, remove your Spotify hat, put on your industry hat. And where do you see the big hurdles in actually, because this has been in talks for a while, but nothing's really come off it. So when do you think the industry will come together and players like yourselves come together and actually kind of have that common metric for measurement so advertisers also have some more confidence when they're investing?
Across the digital ecosystem, I think we've come a long way from the early days. I've been in the business for 23 plus years, and when you think back to us providing impressions and us providing sort of just verification that their ad was viewed, viewability in the early 2000s was the big metric that everybody wanted to make sure that not only was their ad served, but was it viewed and consumed. And I think
But even that definition today, for instance, I know, for instance, Facebook says that if I viewed their ad for 5 seconds, it's a view, but it isn't. I'm just scrolling, So there's a lot of gray.
Well, that's the best thing about Spotify is that you can only listen to one thing at a time. And so when they're listening to their favorite music, and then they get an ad served from one of our brand partners, that's what they're listening to and that's what they're engaged with. And so that's something that we pride ourselves on in terms of that non-cluttered environment for which brands can tell their message.
No, for sure. But I'm just asking you as somebody who is part of the industry, and this is not a Spotify direct question, it's more an industry question saying, do you think there will come a time in the near future where such a metric will be arrived at?
Cross-platform?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have industry leaders out in the marketplace that are driving towards that. I think it is, when you have such consolidation among 2 or 3, 4 top platforms, I think they will come down to their ability to agree upon a metric that's across the ecosystem.
Okay, let's hope and pray. But moving on, everybody is currently talking about AI. I just want to check with you on. You've launched something which actually helps your advertisers to kind of get creative and voiceovers through your AI tool.
Sure, we are working on rolling out our AI capabilities within creative management. So as part of Creative Labs, not only do we have great expertise coming in to help you on the creative strategy and actually on the creative production, but we also have technology in the back helping us come up with better scripts and better ideas for producing creative on a faster basis for you.
Now, if I just ask you a macro question, right, on AI, right, because everybody's talking about AI.
Yes.
Do you think at some point, because of the use of AI, we will be killed by the sameness of the product
Yeah, I think
or the output?
Well, I think we're still really early in understanding the capabilities of where AI is going and what it can actually provide. I think I think you come down in two camps. I come down in the optimistic, positive camp that I think AI will be a great complement to what we're doing. I think it will be an enabler I think it will be an enabler technology.
Like enabler of creativity.
Well, enabler or complementary supporter of technology. I think it will open up ideas that we haven't thought possible before. I think from a just pure production, translation, script writing, et cetera, I think it offers great promise. And it's just a matter of how those tools are actually used in the future. And I think in the right creative hands, there could be great creative output.
If I ask you to kind of zoom out and now again wear the Spotify hat, but as somebody who's understanding the global market, given the fact that there are recessionary fears and the geopolitical factors across, we hear that marketers are kind of tightening their belts and the ad dollars might actually come under pressure. Are you sensing that from clients you've been meeting across the globe?
Yeah, I think there are always macro headwinds. Every single year, there's always macro headwinds. And I think this year with 4 billion people voting on the planet across 68 countries, with wars breaking out in different regions, with the inflationary economics happening, even in this environment, the ad marketplace is still growing nearly double digit. And so I think it is still resilient and still growing in terms of the opportunity that is out there.
Okay, so give me a sense then, within the Spotify ecosystem, where are your levers for growth?
Yeah, so I think as we move into more video opportunities, I think there's a lot of growth for us there. As we move into more emerging markets, I think India presents a great opportunity for growth for us here. We're still very early in building this business, and there's a lot of opportunity in India for advertising, and we're just very early on in that. So I think there's good opportunity in India. I think as we move out of just the brand only part of the funnel and move into sort of more mid-funnel and lower funnel metrics over time, I think that presents a great opportunity for us to expand our business.
Do you think personalization is going to completely kill discovery?
I think of them as hand in hand. I think we're able to enhance discovery better for you based on your personalized.
How do you say that? I mean, and this is not a Spotify only question.
Yeah.
It's generally a question because, we're all getting into just being served what we've sampled, right? And if I'm sampling it over and over again because that is the only amount of exposure I have, that's the only ocean I'm swimming in.
So among our 650 million listeners on our platform, we look at the trends that they do. So we have nearly 5 billion playlists. So we know what songs are on which playlists. We know what you're saving. We know what you're skipping. We know what you're searching for across the globe. And so for that amount of data for us to have to better personalize your experience for yourself, but also better provide you discovery that we think you may like based on all the information that we have across the network. It's the network effect that comes into the personalization feature.
Give me a sense globally in terms of which are the biggest genres for Spotify in terms of listeners.
They change because, and it's become more global. So as we think about Afro beats, that's been growing super fast over the last 12 to 18 months. Country has been growing very fast over the last year. And so you start to see pops of different kinds of genres in different parts of the world. And now they're not just staying regionally, they're going globally. And so how music is traveling, it's a universal language. It's not just staying within one language, within one country, but becoming sort of global phenomena that are leading trends. So that's something that we're excited about.
In terms of podcasts, which genres and podcasts are doing?
True crime has always been a very large segment for us.
Oh, really?
Yes, true crime is, in the podcast, it's one of the foundational genres, I guess, of podcasting. Interview shows, sports, comedy, those are really big in terms of podcasts, and they're growing super fast.
But if you had to give advice to people who are aspiring to start a podcast, what genre should they get into to get them the maximum hit?
I think whatever they're most interested in and most authentic about and most passionate about leads usually to a really good podcast. And I think if you're starting a podcast today, I would start it with video as well. And so making sure that you don't have just audio, but you have audio and video, because I think listeners want the choice and want the opportunity to see both.
Before I let you go, a few things that will make us focused on Spotify in terms of new things to come from your platform?
Yeah, I think you'll start, especially here in India, or yes, especially here
Both.
in India. Yeah, both. Well, I think you will continue to see innovation coming from our product side. As we add more content types, you'll have more opportunity to engage with the content. I think our personalization will continue to get better, and our ubiquity. So we're one of the few platforms that I think shows up on every device, whether it's in your home, it's in your car, it's on your mobile, it's on your TV, it's on your gaming console. We are where you want to be, and we have your favorite music, podcasts, and audiobooks.
And in India?
And in India, I think all those are coming to India as well.
Okay, fair enough. On that note, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
This was very insightful, and here's wishing you a lot more power to ensure Spotify's growth in India in particular.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.